Today we're going to unpack how to create a test plan, but before we get to the how, we should answer the who, what, where, when, why, when questions to help inform our how. So first off, who is going to consume the test plan? Who is going to execute the test plan? Is it just yourself? In terms of execution, is it a team of 4 within your smaller agile teams? Is it going to be consumed by executives, your team manager, engineering manager, engineers, etc.? So it's really important to understand whom the who is, and then second, what is the scope of testing? So with that, there could be no end to the size of a test case that you could develop when it comes to your mobile client, website, platform, backend, firmware, hardware, etc. And so it's really important to create and establish agreement in terms of what is the scope of the test plan today and what do we need to test? What's the most urgent? Because you could spend weeks and weeks testing edge cases that might not add a great deal of value to you or to the consumers of this testing. So it's really important to understand what is the scope and where does it stop. So create a sense of agreement and alignment there. And so then number 3 is, where will the results be stored? So there's a couple of options. There's old school paper where people will print out a grid and they'll write their results manually and file that away and store it. There's not a lot of companies that I know that do that. I'm more a fan of the cloud solution, and you can either store that in Confluence or Google Drive. There's also Excel for those that are more Microsoft based in their day-to-day functions. So it's really important to understand the consumers that are going to be reviewing these tests, because maybe your company, your startup is a G Suite startup, but then you're going to export it to someone that only runs Microsoft. So it's really important, again, to know all about that who. Next, it comes down to why. Why does the testing need to be recorded? So is it for posterity? Is it to prove that QA has been doing their job? Is it possibly for historical record? Is it to share with the clients to say, hey, you paid for this many hours, these are the tests that we ran against X number of hours? Or is it for executives that want to have insight into, are we reducing the number of bugs? Is QA adding value? Are they filing things that are all P4s, really, really small bugs, and therefore the platform's very stable? Executives are going to be keenly interested in the outcomes of test plans. And then lastly, in terms of the W's, it's all about, when does this need to be finished? So, do I need to get this done today? And it needs to be really, really just brief, bare bones, to the point, so that I can go and execute. And then how often, in terms of that when, how often am I going to run through that test plan? Is it once a week, once a month, once a day, a couple times a day? Is it with every release? So test plans I find are most helpful when it comes to regression testing. And back to that last piece about a historical record. So if we push out a release that on Thursday things are misbehaving, but on Tuesday we ran through the test plan, we can look at Tuesday's test plan results and see, okay, these 3 things were doing really well, but this last one, wasn't performing well. But on Thursday, all four are not in a good place. And so then you can eliminate that bottom piece, because you know that was misbehaving on Tuesday, but you can focus in on the regression for the other 3 bugs that came up. So I really love it personally as a sanity check and as a means of a historical record, so that I can see over time, are the bugs decreasing? Did this device always have issues? Is this section of the code super problematic and I should talk to my engineering manager about considering refactoring it? So all of those things go into the value and helping to formulate the how to create a test plan, which will be our next video. with that, have a great day, and let me know if this was helpful, and if you guys have other parts to your who, what, where, when, why, love to hear about it in the comments below. With that, I'm going to kick it to our next video on how.